Okay, we are live.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to have y'all here today. We are here today with Rudy from Dogg Reptiles. Rudy, thank you for joining us today.
Hi guys.
Yes, sir. It's been a while. We how long have we tried to plan this with you? It's been a decent
It's
amount
been
of time.
months.
Yeah.
It's been months and months, dude, and you guys have been totally patient with me. And I'm about to start getting back into my busyness of life and all their businesses. So I'm glad you guys caught me right now, so that we can do this, man. Thank you so much for inviting me, having me on, man.
Yeah,
For sure,
definitely.
yeah.
Super
Super
for this
appreciated that you come on.
one.
For sure. Now, tell me, I'm looking at the all this stuff right here, and I haven't got my StreamYard. I still do the free version. I don't even do the paid version yet. I mean, yeah, I know. I'm way behind. You guys got it all freaking set up nice, man. I love this.
Yes.
I love it. I gotta get, and
Presentation
it's
is
not
everything.
even. Yeah, and it's not even that much. It doesn't even cost that much. What is it, like
No.
40-50 bucks a month or something?
Yeah,
right?
I think it was like
Yeah.
40.
They do the green screen now, right?
Yeah.
I think
That's
they do,
so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, because
Cool.
I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but I did an interview. My first interview with someone who's not a reptile guy was with the owner and creator of StreamYard. I don't know if you guys know
really?
that.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's the owner because he had just started exploding when they did away with the Google Hangouts. I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
remember. They did away with them, and he was kind of, his business was simmering. Him and his team. He has I think he says a partner. Him and his team were just simmering with that with StreamYard, and then when Google let go of that, boom, StreamYard just exploded. It was StreamYard and the other one. What's the other one? The other popular one that everybody uses, like for classes and college and
Google Classroom and Zoom and all
Zoom,
that.
Zoom. Yeah, and then Zoom also started, and then their stock and everything started going up. And I met this guy originally when he was like a regular guy. Now he's a millionaire. So, so
That's cool.
that's how it is, bro. I wonder because sometimes he sends me emails just giving me updates, and I'm like, I wonder if this is a personal email or this is like an email that's kind of like standard. You know what I mean? But
You're
but
on
anyways,
his newsletter.
yeah, that dude is really cool. That dude is he's really young too. He's like, how old are you guys? Like in your early 20s or something?
No,
19, yeah.
Yeah, no,
19.
okay, so yeah, he's like in his like mid to late 20s. So he's doing pretty good for himself. Yeah. All
Yeah,
he learned to
that's
do is
awesome.
code. That's all it
That's
is
cool.
just code, man. He
Yeah.
made it happen for sure. So I definitely got to do what you guys are doing here. So what's
For
up,
sure,
guys?
yeah.
What do you guys have in store for me today? I'm excited. I don't have to ask the questions. I don't have to think about things. So I'm kind of like even pumped about this, dude. So tell me, what do you guys want to know about Rude Dogg?
Well, we can start first with one of the more main questions that everyone kind of wonders. So, of course, we see you with your podcast live and getting to be with a ton of amazing people, like you already talked about here with the guy of StreamYard. What animals do you kind of work with? Because I know me and you back at the Reptile Show, we talked about how you used to work with false waters at one point. So what do you kind of work with now?
Okay, so right now what I have, and I'm in my snake room right now, I have I don't have a big collection. You guys probably have more snakes than I do, more reptiles than I do. Okay, I have for real, watch, I got 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like 12 or 13 ball pythons, and that includes male and females. That includes my whole, that's it. I do have some baby ball pythons, but I don't count those as my collection because they're for sale. I have a couple of holdbacks, so about, I'll say 15 tops. Okay, and then I got one Eastern Indigo. I used to have a pair, but my female passed away, and it's kind of not very uncommon because the genetics are so limited that there's kind of too much, not too much, but there's just a lot of inbreeding kind of happening. The breeders really try to do their best to not inbreed them and try to keep the genetics as separate as possible. But because since it became illegal, you can no longer take them out of the wild anymore. You can't handle them or touch them. So we're limited with genetics. So with that said, I only have a male left, and I'm kind of just looking to get back into a female, but I'm kind of scared because I paid a lot of money for my female, and not only that, but I spent 2 years growing her up, and then she passed away. So and it was a genetic issue. Sometimes the genes with Eastern Indigos, it's obvious. You see it, the maybe the kink tail or something, right? or the growth is not something. Initially, you can tell, but sometimes you cannot. Sometimes they develop issues later because of genetics, kind of like humans, you know. And then I also have a pair of legless lizards. I'm sure, Lukas, you've seen those over there at I'm sure Jay has some over there, right?
Yeah, he is. I've seen a couple in his place, in and out.
Yeah. And then I also have a pair of blackheaded pythons, but these are the strangely enough, when I bought them is when I realized that they're kind of like a dwarf species, because when you get Australians like this, right, kind of like something like that, right? But if you cut it in half and just look at the northern part, then you have northern, central, east, and west, right? So the northern and central tend to get the biggest, like 12, 15 feet long. They're really girthy and big. You know, they have big heads, and that's cool. But then the westerns tend to be like 10 to 15 feet. And then I got the eastern, and the eastern is funny because I've had them for like 6 or 7 years, and the guy before me had them for several years. They're only about 6 feet and about this. They're kind of like a big colubrid, kind of like a Honduran milk snake, and that's it. They don't grow past that, man. So it's more like a dwarf species of the and according to my research, the reason why they stay smaller is because in the eastern part of Australia, food is more scarce. So all the species stay smaller of whatever they have there. So I think personally, I feel I got lucky, and it'd be cool if I can reproduce them and sell them as such, as dwarf kind of. I would have to ask someone who's a little bit more proficient and professional in genetics and stuff like that than for me just to be throwing out the dwarf style. But it kind of does go in line with what Garrett Hartle has going on, you know. He's got the layers, and he's got the Kalatoas, and those are all smaller islands in that region, which food is real scarce. So the animals do reach maturity, but they reach maturity at a much smaller weight and length and size, and they reproduce. So with enough generations, obviously that gets worked into the genetics, and then before you know it, that's what you have. So this kind of falls into that same arena, but I won't really say that they're officially dwarf until someone else agrees with me, pretty much. And then then I also cool, I love those. I mean, everybody loves my blackheads. Now I also, just up to recently, I had a Sinaloa milk snake, and that one just passed away recently, and that was the one that started it all, the first one. And the last time I showed that one on video was on my interview with Kat Von D. She asked if I asked her if she wanted me to show her some snakes, because she was asking me about my snakes. So I showed it to her. As the last time she ever came on, and she passed away. I think because of old age, I can't see. I saw the conditions of her caging and everything, and it was pretty right on. And we've had her for about 10 years, and the person before us had her about 5 years, and they had her since she was an adult. So I'm pretty sure she was close to 20 years, if not more. So she pretty much did live out her life. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
Yeah, and then what else? I got a pair of anacondas. I got a female yellow anaconda and a male green anaconda. And for those of you that don't know, the female green anacondas are the big monster ones, the big ones. And I didn't want that. I don't. It's not. Retics are cool and big snakes are cool, but I'm not into the big snakes. It's like if I was to get retics, I'd definitely go for the super dwarfs for sure. Yeah, and then I have a pair of T-negative albino red blood pythons, good old fashioned red blood pythons, and that's it. There's no genetics more to that, because I feel that if I add anything more, I'm just gonna ruin that gene. I love the albino gene. I don't think it gets better than the albino. I've seen the albino a pixel. I've seen the albino ivory. I've seen the albino. I've seen the different type. It doesn't do it justice. The just normal albino doesn't do it justice. Other people have their own likes, but that's me. That's just me. So, and that's it, man. That's all I have.
Wow, that's awesome though. You got a pretty cool collection.
Yeah, it's a little diverse.
Yeah. So you said the slow and milk snake, was that your first snake ever? Is that what you meant? That's what started it all?
Yeah, that one started it all. It wasn't mine. It was originally my daughters, my two youngest daughters. They got together. We were at a baby shower or something, and someone pulled out a snake, and my daughters fell in love. And of course, me being an animal guy, I loved it. I'm like, oh man, I love the snakes, blah blah, blah, you know. But I really wasn't into. I didn't know that there was a reptile community. I really don't know at the time. So my daughters begged me. I said, well, I you know the age old dad excuse. I don't have any money, right?
Yeah.
That usually does it. That usually does it. I don't have any money. Okay. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll put our money together. So they put their allowances together. They happen to have it there at that day. They put their money together. They said, they're going to sell it to us for $100 or $50 or something with the cage and everything. All it does is eat a mouse. I'm like, it eats a live mouse? Okay. And this? Okay. I need to hide. And he goes, yeah, we're going to give you everything. I go, for $50? I'm like, okay, what if it escapes? You know, so we went through all that. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. Okay. Yeah. So we took it home. And then I started doing research. Well, it got out of the cage, and my daughters were a little irresponsible. It got out of the cage. It was crisis lockdown. I literally could not sleep for 2 nights. I didn't sleep for 2 nights because my wife wouldn't let me. Because she said, "What if it crawls up to me in the middle of the night, tries to get warm with me?" And it was, she was doing research, and she came across the worst information ever. According to her research, it is quite possible that the snake was never going to be found. So at that point, we're talking about moving. That's how my wife was very, very scared of snakes and stuff like that, especially milk snakes. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, babe, for real? So we're going to move out. We're going to my parents' house. I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm leaving. I'm moving out. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to throw the parties I've always wanted to throw. You know what I mean? So no. So then what happened? Then at that time, so I was literally up all night with a flashlight, sitting there with everybody sleeping in the living room, and I was sitting there awake, and I couldn't go to sleep. I had to watch everybody to see if the snake would crawl up. So I did research. I put stuff down on the what do you call that? Foil paper on the floor in the kitchen. And I got a mouse, and I put him inside of a cage with an open cage, but it's, has the grid on it. And I put it in the middle. So if even a snake was crawled, they could hear it. None of that, it worked. And then 2 days later, literally 2 days, I hadn't slept in freaking 2 nights. So 2 days later, me and my son are talking. I hear the dog just barking, just going at it. I'm like, what's my dog barking at? That's weird, because your dogs bark, right? And I'm like, oh, the snake. I bet you anything he got outside. Went outside, sure, he had it cornered up against the corner. All that just to say that at that point, my wife says from now on the snake goes outside of the house, and it's in the garage. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put it in the garage, but so at that point I decided I'm gonna build it a terrarium. And then that's when I went to YouTube. And then the rest is history. The rest is history. I'm like, Brian Barczyk, and who's this, and what is that? Oh my gosh, this is, people love reptiles, like they're animal lovers like me. And then that's all you had to do. That's all. And then from there, I had a family friend that he had snakes too, but he wanted to get out of it. And at that time I was doing construction. I'm still a licensed general contractor. That's my other business. I have several businesses, but anyways, he told me, hey bro, can you hook me up with installing some windows? I already bought them. They're going to be shipped in a couple weeks, and I'll give you my 2 snakes. This is how much they're worth, and wah. And I'm like, and normally I do that stuff for free for friends, and help them out. But he said, okay, well, I'll be willing to give you the snakes, and I know you'll take care of me, but I'll give them to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, cool. So he gave me a Dumerals boa. He didn't know what he was giving up. He didn't know he gave me a Dumerals boa. And then I forgot what the other snake. Oh, a Brazilian rainbow boa and a Brazilian rainbow boa. Wow, nice. So I got those suckers, and I started. That's it. And then before you knew it, he says, "I'll take you to another reptile. There's a reptile show going to happen soon." I go, "I didn't know they had reptile shows." He goes, "No, man, I'll take you." He took me. Then he took me. He as a gift to me. I don't know why, but as a gift to me, because we're friends, He bought me a Honduran milk snake, so I can breed to the Sinaloan milk snake I already had. And then that's how the breeding got started, and that's how everything. Yeah. Dude, so that's kind of how it all kind of came to be.
Okay. That's awesome.
So you mentioned that you do other jobs. What other jobs do you do besides the podcasting reptiles?
Dude, nobody's ever asked me that. Thank you so much. This is the first time I get to talk about my life. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'm a licensed general contractor. I've done work like obviously building new structures, residential, commercial, industrial. I've built reprocessing facilities for hospitals. I've done work remodeling work like in churches. Like I've worked for the LA County, Los Angeles County. They've hired me for work. I've also done work for some of the preschools and in pretty much all the preschools in Southern California. I used to contract with all the Olive Gardens in Southern California.
Cool.
I think I did some work for Panera Bread. So it's kind of been pretty big time for me in that arena too.
Yeah.
But what happened? But that's not what I do now, though. Even though I'm still a licensed general contractor, I don't do construction anymore. So back in 2008, 2009, you guys were probably still little. You probably weren't even born yet, bro. Corey probably wasn't even born yet. 2008,
years old.
So 2008, 2009. Okay. We had an economy
the economy
breakdown
crash.
or whatever. The economy crash, and then along with real estate, obviously in construction. So there was this one company that kept reaching out to me saying, "Hey, Rudy, we've heard of your work. We want you to come be a repair technician for us." I'm like, "Repair technician? Like, what is it about?" And I'm like, I don't know. I said, I told him, look, I'm a construction guy. I build stuff. You know, I don't know anything about. I could do repair work, but that's something that I started doing a long time. I've gone past that. Like we pay good money. Anyway, so I tell him I'm not interested. A few months later, work started going down more. Anyway. So let's fast forward. They were reaching out to me every couple months for about a year and a half to 2 years almost. They were really pursuing me to try to get me to go work for them. And in the meantime, while I was waiting for things to turn around, I was already starting to lose my house. A lot of people have lost their house. You know, they were losing all their investments. They're losing their properties. They're losing everything. Put it this way, this is how bad it was. The bank, we noticed that there was people driving up to our house, standing across the street and taking pictures of our house. And we're looking, and we called the bank and they said, yeah, well, we're getting ready to foreclose on you, where we can't keep you guys there, you know, because obviously the house still belongs to the bank when you're paying your mortgage, right? So we're about to. I mean, and at that time I had all my kids and my wife and all my kids were still living with me. I mean, we're a family of six, something like that. And we had nowhere to go. Nobody could take in a family like that and whatnot. We couldn't pay our mortgage, let alone, rent, So we were literally gonna, we were just waiting for we got notices. We were literally waiting for the sheriff just to come and knock on our door and say, hey, you guys got to leave. It's law. You haven't paid your mortgage and blah, blah, blah. We weren't the only ones. Right.
Yeah.
So we were waiting for a miracle, and a miracle did happen. Something happened with an organization called NACA that was helping a lot of people back then. They kind of helped us to bring us back to zero again. In other words, we're back current, but the economy was still bad. I still couldn't pay the mortgage. So I used to even I had up to 16 employees. I was always booked 6 months in advance. I wasn't even working anymore. I was just a contractor, paper contractor, getting the contract and putting my people to work. And that's all I was doing, and just generating new business, getting new business and stuff like that. And that's the way I had it going. Yeah. It got so bad to a point where we were waiting. We were like 6 months in advance booked, to 3 months, to 2 months, to like 2 weeks, 3 weeks between jobs. And then to a point where I lost all my workers and I couldn't pay them. So I had to go back to work, and my son had to help me out, do some of the work, whatever little work I had. And he had to work for free because I couldn't even afford to pay him. So it got really, really bad. So finally the company called me again and says, hey, Rudy, we're doing good. We have work for you. I'm like, you know what? I gotta take it, but I'll tell you this: I'm not a repair technician. I'm a contractor. I'm a builder. I'll only work for you guys for weekends. He goes, okay, look, this is how much we're gonna pay you. I'm like, well, I'll see it I believe it when I see it, because they were promising big things. Yeah. So I went to work with them, and I saw my first paycheck. I'm like, holy moly! Oh my gosh, this is gonna save me. Yeah. So I went in 100%. I sold my trucks, my scissor lifts, my boom lifts, my trailers, my jackhammer. I had everything. For all my workers. I had all that stuff. And we sold everything, and then I just went into this 100%, and I've been doing it ever since. So this company that keep reaching out to me was called Living Spaces Furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about Living Spaces Furniture is that the main execs and decision makers and people that they hired me as an independent contractor. They didn't hire me as an employee. So I'm still a contractor. Yeah. And they said, look, we have people that buy furniture and then they pay for an extended warranty, and then they call on the warranty a year later, and we need to send someone to go fix it. And if they can't fix it, well, then we bring it into the shop or we replace it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll do that. So anyways, I started doing that. And before you know it, I was like at 100% completion rate, where before me, they had only seen 50-60% completion rate. They were like, oh my gosh, you're
really?
amazing. You're amazing. You're a great fit. So I told them, let me bring in my own people, grow my company. So I started growing my whole career went this way. Boom. Right. So at that point, they started referring the execs from Ashley know Living Spaces Furniture, know the execs from Ashley Furniture, that know the execs from Lowe's, that know the execs from Best Buy, that know the execs. So they started referring me to all these other huge multi-million dollar accounts, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So not only that, then I started noticing that when these companies are doing deliveries, whether it's appliances or furniture or whatever, they bang up people's walls or the floors or the front doors, or the trucks sometimes hit the overhang of the house. So they were causing damages on deliveries. So I told them, hey, I can fix that stuff. You just give me a chance. So I opened up a whole new line of business in that same business. So everything has evolved since then. Now we do moving companies, of obviously furniture delivery companies, all the furniture companies, and now we're opening up new branches to do hotel chains, anything that's furniture based, hotel chains, restaurants, senior assisted living homes, and then that's what I do outside of Pro Coco and Root Dog and snakes and stuff like that. So this whole snake thing was really started off as obviously you know how it started off, but it really really quick and started entering into the arena of it being therapy for me, because I suffer from anxiety. Like real bad. It's a high functioning anxiety, which pretty means that you see me, I look normal, I talk normal and stuff like that, but inside I'm there's a lot of stuff going on inside in my heart and my mind's like I feel like this, and especially someone who's always in front of the camera, it's very hard and it's nerve-wracking, especially if you have anxiety issues. So I haven't really I've never really it's never really overflowed into depression. It came close, but I can see how anxiety turns into depression. I can see it from where I sit, from where I'm at. It's never gone that way, and I think it's because I never let my anxiety take the best of me. I never let it stop me. I've done public speaking, I've done public trainings, I've done interviews before this whole podcasting. I used to do interviews. I used to talk in front of crowds and stuff like that, and it was very nerve-wracking. But I never let my anxiety stop me. And I think that's why I never really boiled over into depression. And I can see how debilitating that can be, man. So it really quickly and very very naturally became my outlet. And then when it became my outlet, it became something that was just me. My wife has nothing to do with it. My kids have nothing to do with it. As soon as I started building stuff back here in the garage for them, they lost interest. As soon as they grew up, a year or so later, they lost interest. So I started developing my own snake collection and stuff like that, and then putting everything on social media. And then before you know it, I was trying to do content for social media, and that's how all that progressed.
100%. And I like that you bring out the whole reptiles of therapy, because I definitely, for myself, I'm same here with high functioning. I know Corey does. They definitely are therapeutic. I mean, whether you're cleaning cages out or just handling them, like I see Corey has one of his snakes right now. They really are, like, it might be weird to say for some people, but they really are a support animal sometimes.
Yeah.
No, I would even go further and not even say sometimes. They're pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not around them, I know they're home, and I know that all I could do is just reach in there and just, even just opening the cage is like, wow, how amazing are you? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean. It's like, how amazing are you? And then sometimes I love the part that even no matter how long I have every one of my animals, no matter how long I've had it, I have moments where I feel very grateful for having them. No matter how long I've had them. No matter how long. I open the cage and sometimes, and then sometimes it hits me. I'm like, gosh, I'm so lucky to have this. I'm so blessed to have this. And yes, and I think they're highly underrated as therapy animals. I absolutely 100% believe is highly underrated. What does that say? I like them more than my kids most of the time because they don't talk back. Because they don't talk back, probably, right? Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. To me, it's and it's a sore spot with my family too. Like I said, is a very delicate spot because yeah, it's maybe we can get into it some other time, but right now it's very delicate. There's friction and there's between my collection and my therapy and my love for reptiles and everything that I do and my family and mainly my wife. I shouldn't say my family, it's my wife and my marriage really that it comes down. There's and I've been wanting to for a long time to get together with other people that have that same issue, but not very many other people have that issue. with your passion, your hobby being something that's actually causing destruction in another part of your life, and where I feel that it doesn't need to cause destruction. If it's causing destruction, it's kind of like because you're making it or allowing it to cause destruction. Like it doesn't have to be reptiles. It could be anything else. It could be building hot rods or, whatever, right? You have whatever kind of hobby, building motorcycles or whatever, so.
100%. Yeah. Like you said, with these animals, they really do bring a light to our lives. It's like you get to hold it, or like Lukas going to the reptile zoo, getting to hold all these amazing animals. I mean, you get that appreciation for them, that love for them, seeing all the beautiful colors, getting to see people who maybe have never touched a snake in their life get to hold it for a first time. I mean, besides Lukas doing education, I also do a little education and getting to witness these younger 8-year-olds, whoever I work with at that time, seeing their eyes light up like, oh my God, I didn't know that existed. Now they want to get it. Last time I did a class over Zoom to teach some kids a little things here and there. And I showed them the false water cobras and stuff like that, since I just came back from the rep show and all that. And right after that, I had a bunch of parents message me and be like, hey, who do I go to get one of these? Or do you have any available? It's like, okay, yeah, go to this person, whoever. And it's really cool to see people be like, okay, these are really cool. And like what you said, you go onto that YouTube, you find Brian, you find Jay, you find Kevin over at Nerd, and it's like, okay, I can't stop now.
Yeah, I know. And to your point, yeah, even just looking at them, you don't, because I don't own every single snake I've always wanted to have, but even if I get to go to Jay's place or another reptile shop around here, the Reptile Factory, and I get to swing by and see some of these animals that I don't get to see very often, that alone right there is therapeutic. Yeah. Hey, Corey, what do you have right there? Is that a falsie? It looks like a falsie.
Yeah.
Am I tripping? All right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's got a nice falsie.
He's gotten huge, Corey.
Yeah, they're like little pencils.
I got him at 42 grams.
He's reeling up with my male right now because my male's catching up too.
Do you guys see
Actually,
they're so cool.
Just got a chicken heart.
Oh.
Say it again.
What did you say, Corey?
Oh, I like to vary his diet a lot, so he actually got a chicken heart the other day.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like the way that they're kind of like indigos.
Oh, they really are.
Yeah, they're really smart. They're always looking around, but except that they're rear fang venomous. So yeah.
Honestly, just having the ones I got that you saw at the show, they're so cool to interact with, and just watching them, it's such a different thinking pattern compared to a ball python or a retic or whatever.
It definitely is, yeah.
But yeah, no, the false waters are they're incredible. I can't honestly. I want to get more. I love working with the ones I have now.
You know which my favorite my favorite kind is the regular wild type is still my favorite.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, the
Right?
Labradore's
Types
nice.
for any animal,
Wild
yeah.
types are any animal.
Yeah,
okay. Ball pythons, I like the wild type, but sometimes I do lean towards more of like the orange dream pastel stuff. If you're not gonna go crazy.
yeah. I get just as excited with when I hatch out normals than when I hatch out, because the normals are so beautiful when they're babies, man. They're so
They are.
like
They really are.
So pretty.
the purples are real purple, the browns are real brown, the blacks are blacks, and the yellows are yellow. And then of course as they grow they just look, like they fade out a little bit. But yeah, the even the normals tend to look really nice. For me, I don't hatch out as many normals as I used to, but I don't think anybody does, right?
Yeah. Here's someone hatch out normal. It's like, huh? Are you okay, buddy? You see this here? It's a little special. Yeah, no, the normals are when it comes to false water crobus, normals are where it's at, in my opinion. Besides hypos, but
I would still invest into hypos. I'd make sure, first of all, when I get back into falsies, the first thing I'm gonna do is get the normals. They get the regular high contrast. That's what I'm gonna go for. And then I'm gonna go for the hypos, and I'm gonna buy a pair of those, because even though the regular wild type it to me looks better, the hypos have their place too. They're very interesting, but if I was only able to get one type, it would be the wild type. Yeah, it was definitely yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like me and Corey were talking a week ago about lavenders.
Yeah, with the falsies, there's two different lines of hypo. There's a recessive hypo and a dominant hypo. So if I bred him to a female hypo, he can make a super hypo. But the European line is recessive, so obviously there's hets and stuff.
Gotcha. So the recessive hypo, and then the codom hypo, do they look the same?
They look kind of similar.
The recessive is a bit brighter. The codominant gets brighter with age, and obviously the super hypo looks really awesome.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So is there Jay has one? Sorry, go ahead, Rudy.
Was there okay? I was going to ask who has the super hypos, but you were about to answer my question.
Jay doesn't have a super hypo. It's just a regular hypo. But when we first got it, it was super dark and it shut out once, and then it started getting that brightness that the hypos have, and it's just gorgeous.
I think one of the only people I know who has a super hypo, I think MJ does have a super hypo.
MJ has a pair, yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Okay.
And then
a pair of the super hypos.
Yeah, he has a pair of the super hypos.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Beautiful. They are gorgeous. Corey and I at one point are going to try, because my female is supposedly het hypo. She looks more like a visual because she's really light compared to mine and his to some degree.
Okay, so you think a little bit of the recessive gene is coming through?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening? Yeah, it happens with clowns too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'll put her next to mine, and I'll put her next to my male, who's just a normal wild type false water. Put them out to color, and she looks so much like lighter in some areas than he does, and there's no darkening in her at all. Like her tail compared to his tail's so dark, and compared to her, there's like no darkness at all. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's a little bit more visual than het, than like they said, but I don't know yet. So it just depends on age and breeding out. So
okay, yeah, fall season. And any of you guys work with tegus?
I would.
No, I wish that'd be awesome.
They're illegal down here, so.
Oh, where are you at? Oh, you're in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. So Corey's in Florida. Me and Lukas are both in Southern California, like you, but I also spend some time here in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Gotcha. Okay. So Corey, real quick, are they like fully illegal now, or because isn't underground Reptiles still selling theirs, or no?
I believe so, but there's ways around it. Like when we were just on with Will Nace on Friday, he explained to us that you need to be open to the public to be able to keep them, like
kind of like
so
a
basically
zoo.
You can get granted educational leniency Exactly. So they can't be handled though, like in the
Yeah, he
to
said
the
that.
public, but your facility has to be open.
And you have to have a
So
facility. You
So,
can't
yeah.
be like showing it online. Like, you can't do that.
You have to be a public
Yeah.
facility.
You have to be a
Yeah.
brick and mortar public facility.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Most likely.
Gotcha. Oh,
Or-
okay.
yeah.
But okay. So, does it have to be a commercial property, or can it be residential? Can it be at your house?
It can be residential because Will, I believe he's on his property. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, his is his
Yeah.
house.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that his house is because you can
That's
have.
true.
Yeah, the area,
Yeah.
the zoning, the area where it's built, it could be commercial, and you can build a house on a commercial. You know what I
That's
mean?
true. That's, yeah, I
So
get you.
who would know? So and I presume that you cannot cross the borders with the Tegu, Corey, over there. Is Corey still with us?
He might have froze. Yeah, he's got that McDonald's Wi-Fi in his shed right now. So. But yeah,
So
no,
okay, so yeah, I'm very curious as to what's going on with that over there, and I still
Yeah.
want to get, I want to get into Tegus too, but I'm about to build out my snake room. It's not really even it's just a small room inside of a garage, so I want to build it out and kind of take over the whole garage. But and at that time I'll be able to build caging and have huge cages for Tegus and be able to.
Oh, cool.
To spend more time. And I want to make bigger cages for, I already got big 6-foot cages for all my snakes, but
heck yeah.
I want like these big ones, these big cages. Like they have those, which are those cages? Anyways, they're custom cages. They're huge.
Oh,
And I'd
yeah.
like to be able to put like my ball pythons in there and kind of have them. It's because a lot of times I take them out to the grass area because I don't like them just being cooped up in their cages all the time in the rack systems.
Yeah.
So I do take them out, and they enjoy it. They explore, they take a look. But then sometimes I don't have time, so they don't get to do that. So I'm like, what if I like build such a huge cage? Then it's almost like they're outside. Yeah, I just put them in there real quick and walk away for the afternoon and come back the next day and give them hides and warm spots and then put them back in the rack systems, the next day or something like that. So at least it can kind of stretch out a little bit. So I was thinking about making some that go around like the floor that goes all the way to the top, and maybe they can climb and go around. And I don't know. I was just thinking about.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Well, that'd be cool.
You know what I was thinking about doing? And I'll give you guys a little tidbit right here because I'm in the process of actually putting ideas together as far as products for the industry, and I'll give you this little quick tidbit real quick. I'm keeping all of it secret until I launch it, but I'll give you this one.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about building what you can call infinity caging. What does that mean?
I like it.
Infinity caging. You know how fish they do it for fish? Well, they have infinity tanks
yeah.
where the fish swim and it feels like they're just swimming forever, but they're really going around in circles.
In a circle,
They're really they're really going. And so that's what I want to do, but not build a circular cage, but build a cage that I can put them in here. But let's say, for example, this is my room, right? This is the floor. These are the walls, right? And then this is the ceiling, right? So build a cage this big, and then with kind of like a shaft that goes up this, and then they end up there, so they can kind of go up, and they kind of, they can keep doing
continuously go on and on.
and they continues, and they don't know that they're going through the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of infinity caging, and it takes away that anxiety that you feel because once you keep snakes long enough, that a ball python is completely happy in his rack system. He is, but there's a part of you that's like, but I want him to stretch out his legs and explore, and he seems like he enjoys it. I don't know, but it seems like it does. So I wanted to develop something that's called infinity caging. So cages that allow snakes to kind of explore and keep moving around and exploring, and not necessarily feeling like they're boxed up in one box. Because no matter what, no matter how small of a snake you put in how big of a cage, the snake or the tegu or the lizard will always find that corner in the door or in the opening, and they'll keep scratching at it.
Yeah.
They'll forget that the rest of the cage
Yeah.
exists, but they'll go to the same spot and they'll keep scratching and scratching. And let's avoid that. We'll give them an infinity cage where they can just continue to feel like, because if you put them outside, they're not going to be scratching to anything, right? They're just going to go hide and just, So anyways, that's what I was thinking. Anyways.
Not the cool idea. That'd be really
awesome.
cool.
It takes
have that in your house too. If you put that a nice big one, especially for a certain species, you put that in your house, and honestly, you can make that into a whole bioactive thing, and with other creatures as well, to a certain standpoint.
Yeah, in those little bottleneck areas, you can always put like a little cover to kind of seal it. If you see the snake go up, seal that and seal out the other opening, and then put another snake underneath. And then they can kind of, you can separate the different species, because you don't want to put a boa inside of the same enclosure as a python, right? You don't want to do that because they agitate each other, right? So you can keep them separate, and then just put little blockades and stuff, and then open it up or whatever, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking. But I won't be able to build anything out like that until I build out my studio, which is giving more space. So, and the same thing with tegus, or lizards and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, look at like what Tiki's Gecko does outside their thing. They have those nice big pens where they can roam around and all that.
Yeah,
but
I love that.
I don't know.
So when you do build out, what are like your top 3 animal species you're going to try and get into more of with Rude Dog Reptiles?
You know what? I don't have everything, because I want a tegu, pretty much a tegus. Yeah. I might like some savanna. I know they have some hypo savanna monitors. Mm-hmm. I really like them because it looks so prehistoric. They really ancient. Do. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And that's about it. Really, what I would do is, once I grow everything out, I would like to expand and expound on what I already have. Add more ball pythons, add more eastern indigos, add more blackheaded pythons, more blood pythons, more anacondas. Because anacondas, they have all kinds of genetics now. Well, not all kinds, but they have really cool stuff, man. Revision. Have you guys seen Revision Reptiles? Revision, something like that. He's totally an anaconda guy. And he's got all kinds of cool anacondas. You guys should check them out. Yeah. And so that's what I would do. I would pretty much just expound on what I already have, because I pretty much have all my dream reptiles. There's nothing really out there that I desire that I don't already have. Like I'll probably get into maybe some super dwarf retics. I love retics, and some tegus, but that's about it. I pretty much have everything I want.
So I just looked up that Revision Reptiles. He's got some really cool pattern anacondas.
Right? He's got the granite. He's got, oh my gosh, dude. Take a look. Is there a way for you to share that? Oh yeah. Yeah,
I'm trying there. Kind of. You can kind of see it. There we go.
Yeah, he was the one who originally sold me my female yellow anaconda. And I think he was staying out in Lake Forest or something like that. I went all the way down to his house with my whole family, and little tiny little anaconda. Yeah, look at that, dude.
Look at that.
It almost doesn't even look like an anaconda. It almost doesn't. Wow,
it gave me jungle carpet vibes right there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. He's working with some cool stuff, man.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I didn't even know that existed till now.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, you know what? I'm glad you said that, because there's a lot of people that, like, I discovered this Instagram, and I forgot what it's called. Oh man. It's an orange iguana. Mm-hmm. I know there's romaine. There's that girl that has romaine, but this dude, but this is a guy, and it has this real orange, bright orange, almost fire engine red iguana, and the whole his whole Instagram is about that iguana, and he's got something like 15 or 20,000 followers, and I'm like, how about I've never heard of you, dude? I mean, our community is growing so much right now. Yeah, our community is growing so much. There's people out there with 4,000 or 5,000 followers. Yeah, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I feel like I'm losing touch. You know what I mean? I feel like there's so much, because before I had a handle on who's who and who has potential and who's going to make it. And, I've always had that a grasp, but as of recently, I've started to see all these new reptile accounts start popping up. Especially after I do reptile shows, that's when I see brand new reptile accounts start following me. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing
that happened to me too.
Yeah, because all boats rise with the tide, and when more people get added, and you guys are already there, right? You guys are already on social media. When people find you, according to human psychology, you are the perceived experts.
Yeah,
you are the perceived expert, because remember when you barely started, right? You started looking at other accounts. You only had 1 or 2 or 3 followers, and then you see someone with 1,500 followers, you're like, oh, this dude knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. You follow him and you message with him and you try to be friends and you try to collab and stuff. But as you grow, you begin to lose touch of the fact that you are the perceived expert to someone else now.
Yeah,
which means you have a certain responsibility, to help guide some of these newbies and not let them fall to the wayside, because some of these newbies will start following these other accounts of people that say that they're reptile keepers. They say they're in the community, but they're really just here to siphon out views, and they torture animals. They treat them bad. They try to use fear tactics for followers and stuff like that, and then they see that and then they follow suit, and before you know it, we lost someone to the reptile industry instead of gaining someone to the reptile industry. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Losing touch. I mean for us in the snake pit alone, I feel like for the past 4 weeks, honestly, Rudy, before you messaged me about being like what happened, for the past 4 weeks, we didn't do a live stream for 4 weeks, forgot for a while, got busy. And honestly, heck, I was sitting here scrolling through Instagram for the first time in 3 weeks, and I was just like, you know what? I'm seeing new accounts pop up. I'm going through my thing. I'm like, I went to 1,500 a few days ago. I didn't even realize, really.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we're getting new people in this. It's like you really do lose touch when you get to a certain point.
Yeah, I think so. But it's always good to at least try to keep your ear to the ground, because you never know who's going to be the next Brian Barczyk. You know what I mean? Who's going to be the it's the next person that's just going to come in.
Or Ozzy, whoever.
Yeah. Someone's just going to go straight to the top, and that's what happens. And I try to facilitate that, man. I really try to encourage it and facilitate it. I tell people, start an account, man. You have a Savannah monitor. Yeah, but I'm waiting to get more animals. No, start your social media now.
Start it now, yeah.
Start posting. Yeah, but I don't know anything. Doesn't matter. You don't have to know anything about social media. Just try to take care of your animal the best you can. Share it with people. And when people ask you what you're doing, just share what you're doing. You don't have to have all this experience and knowledge, but just share your experiences. That's enough. That has enough of its own value. You know what I mean? And before you know it, you're going to have that experience, and you're going to be the guy who people come to for Savannah monitors or whatever, right?
Yeah, heck, I started with only 6 animals. Now I have 70.
I started with I had a ball python, a corn snake, and 2 leopard geckos at the beginning of COVID. And now I have close to 35. So it was really quick. It was really
Corey got the most out of everyone here.
No, you have more than me because of all those babies you got, Nico.
Oh, did I beat you?
But yeah,
I guess I beat
I'm at 50 now with 20-something isopod colonies and rats now. Well, ASFs. So yeah.
I mean, now thinking about it, I remember when we all started the snake pit. When we started the snake pit, I was at 700 followers. Lukas was at 400 followers, and Corey was still at I think he was at 4,000 or 5,000. So to see where we all have come from now, just in a few days, I mean, you just start. If you don't have that many animals, don't worry about that. Start it and get to know everyone, because once you start to get to know everyone, you start loving this community more and more.
Amen. And not only that, I have to say that I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, I actually started going into your guys' social media until the podcast and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you guys have been interviewing people for a long time. I didn't know that. Yeah. You guys have been you guys are throwing up some numbers. Let me tell you that. You guys are doing good. You guys got some great guests too. I'm looking at them okay. They've already been doing this, because I didn't know, right? So I'm like, oh, they've already been doing this, and you guys already been interviewing people. I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I just saw that about a couple of days ago. Nico. So much respect, man, for you guys doing that. I'm glad you guys are doing it. You guys got to keep doing it, man. Keep plugging away. What is your guys' like ultimate goal for all this?
We have a lot of goals, actually. It's pretty interesting.
Our original goal was to let younger people get out there more, because honestly, when we first all started, we felt like maybe the younger ones were a little like shy now, and it's like we look at now that we started this, we've seen more of the younger ones step up, like Kayla from Lucy, and she's done amazing. I mean, I don't know if you've heard her from Billy. Billy helps her out a lot, and she's been doing crazy. Tyler from Toxic Balls. There's so many kids out there now who are 16, 12, 13 now getting out there. And that was our main goal at the beginning of this, is to let kids come out more. So we're going to dedicate 1 month to just all kids, like all reptile kid breeders. We're going to pull them all in and just have them all come on and talk about what they want to do or who they want to be of.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you guys are not only building up. Okay, you guys not only building up the community by doing that, but most importantly, you're building up their confidence.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want to build up their confidence, I think, most importantly. And then that builds up the community, and then they're going to do the same thing with other people. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I was thinking about the same exact thing, right? Keeping my ear to the ground. And so I was thinking, I'll ask you guys and you guys can tell me. This is what I was thinking about doing. I don't know when I'll be able to do it, but definitely sometime soon. I was going to ask my audience to vote on someone for me to interview next. But the person that you vote for has to at least have had their Instagram account for 6 months and has to have 1,000 followers or less. And the person or persons who get the most votes gets to come on the show. What does that say? Because that says that this person, if they're voting for this person is very likable. That means that this person is doing positive things and can possibly do something great in the future with their social media. And it's a good way to kind of also encourage them to get out there and do more, especially if they're getting votes. But
and
then
millions of people with under 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. So it's taking it all the way down to the grassroots of when I started, because we all start at zero, right?
Yeah.
We all start at zero, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So grassroots to where I started, taking it all the way back and start building it up. So once I've done that interview, then maybe in a month or two later, I'll do another one. But this time, you gotta submit your vote for an account that's been around for a year or more, and who has at least 5,000 or less followers, or between 1,000 to 5,000 followers. Yeah. So then you start. Then I take it to the next one, and then 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 we start going up to 20,000 followers. So just because I want the people in general to vote for those people, and I want those people to come on my show. So when they come on my show, I won't only pick the one. I'll pick, because how many can you do? You could do up to 5 people at a time, or 10 people, right?
I think you could do 10. Quite a couple, yeah.
I would pick the top 9
more.
Yeah, so I would choose the top 9 people that were voted for on that show.
That'd be awesome.
And give them exposure, give them their time on the in the spotlight and stuff like that, and hopefully that takes off for them. And I recently did one with Reptile Pratt. I don't know if you guys saw that one. Reptile Pratt, they're a reptile talk show in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are really cool, man. People gotta go check them out. They have real good energy. They do their podcast in Norwegian. But nonetheless, it's good to at least give them that support, because they support us. They follow us over here. They comment on stuff over here and stuff like that. So it'd be cool to show them some love as well. Absolutely. No, so I'm on that tip, I guess. I want everybody to grow, and I want everyone to have a good time, and I want everyone to be successful, and so on and so on.
Yeah. And it only helps our community go further.
Because there's probably a lot of people out there doing amazing things. They just don't have, that right audience yet.
Yeah, a good example would be like someone like Will Banks, someone like like Robert Bruce. They're not on social media. You might see them at reptile shows, but you know they have a website, and then that's all they do. They don't really put their stuff out there. I get it because you know social media is not for everyone, but I think that it's cool that they would. I think it would be cool for them to put it out, but I can understand why they wouldn't. And you got to respect them for that. But here it is. To me, I think it's a little bit of a shame that there's a lot of people that are not going to be able to enjoy or to see the amazing stuff that they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
And there are some amazing people out there you can just think of. Besides, like, if I'm thinking people who maybe not a ton of people know, but that's not like Brian Parch or any of those guys. I mean, first one that comes to mind, and this actually, he came to mind because you mentioned him on your story a while back, was Mr. Brian Gundy.
Yeah. He is totally an unsung hero, man. I love that guy. I love that guy.
Brian
will always make time for you. He will always make time for you.
Let me tell you this. We did our live with him whenever we did it a while back.
Yeah, it was like back in August or something.
Back in August, and I was thinking, because I have a cool collection that's like a lot of the animals that you see in movies. So, you know, like bearded dragon, ball python, tarantulas, corn snakes. And I like talking to people. I do presentations at Jay's place, and I like talking to people and showing them these animals. And when I found out that Brian does his own like reptile parties up there in North California, I was like, this is something that I can do. You know, I enjoy talking to people. I've taught, you know, my neighbors and my family about these animals. And I just simply DM'd him. I didn't even expect him to answer. And he sent me back his number and said, call me anytime. And we must have talked on the phone. It was a good hour and a half of talking on the phone. And he told me like everything I needed to know. And it was amazing.
Yeah, that's Brian for you. That's Brian. And he's freaking a living legend. It's not like he's just, you know what I mean? He's a living legend, literally, you know? So
he did tell me, he said, you know,
about what he does.
He's super passionate.
He loves his snakes. I mean, heck, he went around his reptile room for us during our live, and he just kept going around. He's like, "Oh, look at this! Look at this!"
He did.
He's nonstop, and it was so cool to see it because I'm like, I didn't even know he had like a traditional breeding reptile room, and he just showed his clown pies, his gold blush, whatever. And it's just like, wow, okay,
it's really awesome.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I like to throw him a few shout outs here and there every so often, because he deserves way more than that as far as attention, and he's a real humble guy, and he loves doing the parties that he does. I love that he posts all those stuff, you know. So
oh yeah,
he's a cool dude, for sure.
He has the biggest smile on his face all the time.
Yeah, I love that guy. Yeah,
there's so many smaller accounts or people who've been in this for years and people don't know them. It's like these guys are either living legends or just the most amazing, kindest people who will do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel bad when I don't know somebody.
Yeah, me too. I like you mentioned Will Nace. He's the guy. He's the last person that'll tell you. You know, he's anything, right? I had to tell him, dude, you're like a rock star. You know, you're a freaking rock star, dude. I mean, you know, that's you got to come to terms with that. You know what I mean? You know, you do some amazing things, you know, and he gets all shy and stuff, but he'll be the first one to tell you that, nah, man, you know, he's not. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It's so cool to see some of those guys like that. They're like, no, we're not. We're just people, and we just love what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's about. But no, there's some amazing people out there, and I love that idea you have there. Because honestly, you saying that made me think like, oh, who would I vote for, or who would I put on there?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
I have a million some people like. I have like one person in mind. That's the only person I can think of for your second option of the second go around. So it's just like that's you test that out. I want to see how those results are.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and then and then keep going up, like between 5 and 10,000, and then between 10 and 15,000, and just keep doing them that, and then you cover as many people as possible. And what's funny is the people who got voted in for 1,000 or less will vote for the people that voted for them when it's 1,000 or higher. You know what I mean? So everybody's gonna be voting for everybody, and it's gonna cause all this social media activity too, and it's gonna cause a buzz, and then what I hope is that other people start doing it. I'm not hung up on that thing where people are like, oh, he's copying me, oh, he's doing what so and so did. I'm not even caught up with that. I've told just about everybody that I know. They're like, oh, Rudy, I like the way you're doing things. I like the way you post on your things and you have the patterns. I go, I wish everybody did it. Everybody freaking do it. If you want to look at my stuff, you want to copy everything I do, freaking copy it, dude. Because everybody should freaking be doing it. I'm not hung up on that. You know what I mean? And everybody is inspired by someone else anyways. Everybody copies someone else anyways. I'm not the first person to do a reptile podcast or a podcast, period. I'm not a first person to put a freaking background while you're doing, you know what I mean? I'm not the originator of all this. I just put my own spin on it. And I'm like, tell people you freaking do it too, man. You guys, and I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I had someone ask me, a friend of mine who wants to start a podcast. They asked me like, "Hey, Nico, who does all the promotions and stuff for you guys on your live stuff?" I'm like, "I do," and they're like, "Well, how do you do it?" I'm like, "It's a picture of our logo, and then I put a bit of it. There's not much to it. You just do what you want to do. There's no special way of doing it, no magical way that's going to draw people in."
Yeah. And not only that, if you go also kind of watch your heart, keep your heart in check, and keep your heart. It always take a good inventory of what's going on in your heart and your tendencies, because really, if you're going to do a show, you're going to put yourself out there. You're going to even if just one person shows up and you're still grateful that only that one person shows up, and you still feel like you're lucky that you even got to do that, and even one person showed up and you're happy, then go for it. Go for it. But if you put a show out or you put something out, only one person saw it, and you're disappointed that only 10 people saw it, and you're disappointed, then maybe you need to look for something else, because that's not what this is about. You know what I mean? It's about creativity. It's about pushing others, lifting others up. It's about supporting other people. To me, at least, I'm not, pushing my agendas on anybody else, but to me, it's about supporting everybody else, everybody supporting each other, and helping other people that need help, man. I had enough people help me. This industry, this community has been the coolest community I've ever experienced in my life, in everything I've ever done in my life. And I'm almost 50 years old. Okay. So I want to give back. And even when I was most, I don't know if you guys were around at that time, but years back, about 3 or 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 years now, I actually quit. I quit social media. I quit YouTube. I quit everything.
Oh, okay.
And I announced it, and I said, I'm done. I'm done with this, because the algorithm changes. I was real discouraged. There was a lot of discouragement that came. And dude, everyone came, dude, to all to my social media and just started bombing me with with so much positivity. Even Brian Barczyk, whom especially at that time was he was like, it's almost like he was more famous then than he is now, because he knows everybody. He's so close to everyone now, and he's so accessible. Yeah. He's almost like Jay. Jay's real accessible. I could be like, yeah, Jay's awesome. He'd be like, yeah, I met him too, But at that time, Brian Barczyk was very far removed. It was hard to get to him, Anyways, he even messaged me, hey brother, or whatever, just just stay hopeful and this and that. And I'm like, okay, I need to come back. I cannot just leave like that. I really didn't know this many people were listening and watching. And then I came back with the fury, and I started doing all kinds of stuff, and nothing was working once again. I came back and nothing was working. And when things really started taking off is when I started doing these talk show chat sessions. That's when if you go in the history of my stuff, that's when you really start seeing things take off.
Yeah.
At that point.
And I mean, there's always going to be your ups and low points. I mean, heck, we used to get 30 to 60 people in our lives. Now we'll get like 2 or 3 or whatever. But we're still appreciative for those people on, like Danny or Carissa, who are in here right now. We enjoy it. It doesn't matter to us. I mean, heck, we had Bruce come on from the Reptarium, and me and Corey spent 2 hours talking with him. we had a great time, and there was maybe like 1 or 2 people there, and we were fine with that. We were just like, okay. We're having a fun time talking to a guy who has cobras and is just ecstatic to be there. And we do that with all of our guests. We're just like, you know what? We don't care how many people show up. It's just fun to do. And like
it's totally awesome.
In December, we plan on doing. We don't really care what our numbers are, but we plan on doing a really big giveaway and hoping that people will enjoy it and like it. So we're going to do that from December to January. We haven't fully announced it. We're not going to say what the prizes are yet, but it's going to. There's some.
It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the grind. That's called the grind. Trying new things, changing things, doing things. It's almost like you had to fight through all this rubble just to get 2 inches forward. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So, but it's worth it because this is going to be immortalized on social media, and someone's going to watch it. Maybe they're not watching it now, but they're going to watch it later, and they're going to get inspired later on by what you guys are doing. And then what you guys are going to do is like 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're going to look back to this stuff. You're going to press play with Rude Dog Reptile interview or whatever, and you're going to cringe at how nerdy you looked and how weird you sounded. Dude, I was looking at some of my edited videos. I thought they were the bomb back then. I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I should delete these things, you know? But instead what I did is I got them and I put them on I throw them up on my Instagram and I say, hey, you guys remember this, you know? And just instead of, you know, yeah, because that's who I was, you know, that's what I would do. And that was part of me in my growth and part of my journey. There you go. It was part of my journey for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it'd be definitely interesting to look from 10 years from now and come back to these videos and this episode and just be like, this Lukas still got his goatee going on, or did Cord finally grow up, or did get taught?
Did Lukas's hog noses fade yet?
No, they didn't. They won't ever fade, Corey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, keep plugging away, man. That's what we got to do. And I'm just gonna keep doing this so as long as I enjoy doing it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
The minute that I don't enjoy doing it anymore, maybe it's the day I either take a break and come back or change my style up or whatever. Or maybe I just won't, you know. But I don't honestly don't see it. I think I'm gonna do this till the day I die. I'm not even gonna retire from this. You know what I mean?
Wow, Danny. Wow.
So who's that? Danny says, or Danny, does Nico I'll still have Patrick Swayze hair?
Everyone loves my hair for some reason, and you remember when I was in the reptile show, it was down to here somewhere. So
yeah.
It was long.
For sure. Yeah. Well, at least she said Patrick Swayze, and she didn't say Ace Ventura.
I see that now. I actually see that now.
I do. That's awesome.
No, it's Swayze all the way, man. Don't even worry about it. Swayze all the way, man. at least you can run your fingers through your hair. I can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. You got the guys like Barchek who have to have the nice ponytail going all the way back.
Yeah. Does he still have it? I don't think he still has it.
Yeah.
He still has it?
Yeah.
No freaking way, dude.
Yeah, he still has it.
No way.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, though. I forget who it was, and I talked to Jeremy from Nerd. Well, he's not Nerd anymore, but someone had tried to do a thing to get Brian, Kevin, and Dave Kaufman to all shave their heads.
Oh.
I think it was Cusco, actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Have you guys done with Cusco yet?
Yeah, we did Cusco.
Oh, dude, that dude's awesome, dude.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I think he was our 4th live ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you guys have been getting some good guests even from the get-go. Nice.
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah,
it's been crazy.
We were shocked. Our first lineup was Cusco and Ozzy.
Oh, nice. Them together or on separate?
Separate lives, but
separate lives.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on real quick. Can I put you guys on hold real quick?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, give me a second. I'll be right back. Give me a second.
All good.
Bro, Corey, how dare you talk about my hog noses with Rudy here? Not cool, homie.
Hey,
Oh,
Lucas,
now we gotta
fair.
explain the story about the hog noses.
No. Lucas, even if they do fade, he'll never grow.
True.
I'm not.
No.
Luke, how tall are you?
5'11".
Lucas is kind of short, not gonna lie. I expect him to be
Short?
taller. Well, I expect you to be taller than me.
How tall are you, Nico?
Why would?
I'm 5'9".
Ooh.
He's like 5'8".
He's taller than you? No, I'm 5'9".
Yeah, I'm taller than you.
Mm.
Corey's almost taller than you.
Fight me. My brother's 6'3". He's only 17.
Okay, I already have to deal with Zach. Zach's like 6'4", and he's only 14. No, he's 6. No, he's 17 now. He's gonna kill me if he sees this. I was always the shorter one in the family, so.
6'2" with
Hey,
the
you're
hair.
6'2" with the
Right,
hair.
Hey, I gotta get it up higher. That's why it's up so high.
Sorry about that, guys. There was a little bit of a disturbance I need to take care of. Sorry about that.
No, you're
Okay.
You're good.
No
You're
worries.
good.
Oh, so,
We're just over here making fun of each other a little bit.
so how long you guys been friends? How long you guys? What made you guys kind of get together on this and do it together instead of solo, or what's the deal?
Oh, okay. So
it
a while
was
back-
my idea, right?
Yeah, it was Lucas. Okay, so what happened was I was getting around to this, and I had asked someone to join me for a live, and then Lucas had texted me saying, "Hey, let's do a live," and then Corey texted me also to do a live. Corey wanted to do a boys live with a bunch of guys on YouTube, on Instagram. So it was me and 2 other guys. And then that one guy left, Lukas joined, and we liked all talking together. Then me and Lucas had planned a live together. But after that live, Lucas had texted me privately being like, "Hey, you want to start a private, like a live session here and start a series?" And I thought that'd be cool. I'm like, you know what? Hey, can we get Corey on here? And we brought Corey on. And then on that Wednesday live that we did our live together, we announced it and said, "Hey, we are going to be doing the snake pit." And well, we didn't announce the snake pit that official day, but we said, "Hey, we're going to be starting a group live with me, Ponti's Pythons, and Triple C." And then a week later, that following week, we had messaged anyone possible we could find. Jeremy from Brassman Reptiles was our first ever guest, and we were very thankful for him because he helped us out a ton.
He did.
And then after that, we just kept getting guests every week. Everyone wanted to help out. Cusco, Ozzy, Bruce, there's so many people we're grateful for that helped us out. But it was mainly the idea to start it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool. That's cool that you guys got together.
About each other at the time.
Yeah, the reason why I asked well, the reason why I ask is because I see other people doing the same thing. They kind of, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm a solo act, right? You guys noticed that, right?
Yeah.
You know, I do everything myself.
Yeah.
100%. And I'm just wondering how other people kind of do it, where you know, the decision makings and deciding on this, the name or whatever. And I know how to collab and work with other people, but I don't know how. I mean, because you guys have a vision, right? You guys have a vision how and everybody's got to agree, right?
Yeah. So
and it's weird. We didn't know anything about each other beforehand, and then I shot Corey and Nico this idea, and for whatever reason, you know, we've kind of almost agreed on absolutely everything.
I mean,
it's been real easy.
Well, I picked the name. He did the logo design. Corey knew the people.
Yeah.
So it was like a synergy you guys have.
Almost, basically.
That's
everything was lined up.
Cool.
Yeah, after like a few months, we all kind of picked jobs. Like I do a lot of the bookings. Corey might take care of it if I'm gone. Lucas is usually our main talk host, and Corey is usually our question guy sometimes. But my job is usually watching comments sometimes. So if you ever see me looking,
yeah, because I was hit up by someone recently. Someone pretty. Shoot, I would probably say he's the most important person in our industry. What I can't see what that says.
It's just a bunch of questions I wrote out.
Oh, okay. So he writes out the question.
Yeah, he's a question guy.
So the reason why I asked once again is because I was approached by this person, and this person wants to start working with me on content. Like he doesn't just want to do one off. He wants to kind of get together with me and like let's work on stuff together, because I like the way what you're doing with celebrities. I think celebrities are the future. I think so too. I think so. Bringing in celebrities into the industry, and then and it's almost like we're pulling the industry to the mainstream, and the mainstream to the industry, to the reptile industry. And you know what I mean? So,
but the Reptile Super Show, someone posted that the guy from Fits in the Tantrums was there. One of the singer guys. He was there.
Okay.
He was there. Bomb Reptiles posted about him being there and buying some snakes off him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And you got like people like Summer Rae or
Carrie
Kardashians.
King.
Yeah,
Kardashians have a bearded dragon.
A bunch of TikTokers as well. They all FaZe Clan. They all love it and get it from Miguel. There's so many celebrities who are getting into this.
Yeah. And I believe in that vision. I see that vision, and I believe in it. And all that just to say that this person that approached me, I want to work with them too, So I'm kind of wondering how it works, because I've never really. It's almost like you guys have a partnership. There's not really a collaboration. It's more like a partnership or an understanding, and I don't know how that would work. I've always pretty much been, even in my other career, everything I explained to you guys, I'm a solo. I do everything myself. My wife helps me with the administrative stuff, but all the concepts, the ideas, the whole putting the business together and implementing it and putting it out there, and then start, getting monetization off of your ideas is kind of something I've always done solo. So I don't know. I'm just wondering how they would work. But anyways.
That's how I am with almost everything else. I really just do it myself. But I figured, why if I really like what I'm doing with these reptiles, I gotta get outside of my comfort zone. And that's when I decided to hit up Nico and Corey, and it worked, and it works great. So
and we all work very well together. I mean, when we need to figure out a way to not only boost ratings but also get more people involved. That's where we came up with our idea for the giveaway. We did that in under a day. We sat down. We talked to Lukas back and forth, come up with ideas and what we can do. And
do you guys have like a Patreon, or do you have like a platform where people can donate to your guys' cause and what you guys are trying to do?
We don't.
You guys should probably
go ahead.
We've been thinking about different ways. Like we wanted to sell our shirts, but then donate either most of it or all of it to US Arc. Like we wouldn't be keeping. We don't want to make money off of this in a certain way. We want to give it back to the people that are doing good things for this hobby. Yeah,
that's good. But what about your guys' progress with the show? With you know what I mean with this. I mean, it's gotta, I'm sure a lot of times the only thing that's stopping you is not necessarily the creativity part, but it's just funding and money and being able to push because I mean, if you're going to be on Spotify, if you're going to be on all that, you got to pay money. You got to pay a monthly fee for that, and stuff like that. So if you guys have it, I would encourage it.
Yeah, no, we plan on, we would like to do something like that, but we're waiting on getting to a certain goal on YouTube and on Instagram, and then we'll talk about it and try to do a Patreon or something. Plus, on top of that, like you said, there is that creative mindset where you got like, okay, if we're going to do a Patreon, we need to think, what are we going to do that's also worth an extra payment? Be like, hey, we're going to do some special tidbits here, or maybe like a bonus live with someone here, like on Sundays. Instead of doing our bonus lives here on Sunday on YouTube where everyone can see, maybe bring it to Patreon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And then you're able to you'll be able to even do more giveaways, and you'll be able to do creative stuff. You know what I mean? And either way, it grows the community. That's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? It grows the industry, the community, and whatnot. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and exactly. I think our bigger thing right now that I for some reason I've heard one or two people be like, it's kind of like our trend we kind of started. But we have the snake pit stickers, which I think we gave you last show. I'm not sure, but we give the snake pit stickers to only people who've been on our show.
Yeah.
That's how everyone knows if they've been on our show. Like I had one person, it was Daniel from Diabolical Reptiles. He was doing a live, and he was showing me my sticker because I had recently sent him out one of my newer stickers, and then everyone saw the snake pit sticker and knew immediately what I was from, and then like, oh, okay. So it's like people are trying to recognize that, and it's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, that's brand recognition. So you guys are also building up your brand as well. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I'd love to see you guys' progress. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And is there anybody else that's doing live that does live chats like you guys? Like there's 3 guys interviewing one person. There isn't anybody else that's doing that, right?
Think so. No, it's usually
That's
just
pretty
one
OG.
on one.
It's usually just one. I mean,
Other than the it's the Readers of the Round Table.
No, they stopped. They disbanded.
Oh, they stopped.
And then there's Zach and from Nava Reptiles and why am I blanking out on her name?
Yeah.
Miri Sydney from MSB Reptiles. Those 2 have a thing going on together for a chat session, and then also Corey. Who's the other guy with Zach? Because there was technically, Bradley. I can't remember
Bradley.
I can't remember his.
Bradley from Raptor on Reptiles. Him and Zach have it's called Connected by Creatures podcast. It's really awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah, I've caught a couple of them.
Okay.
And then the other, he was funny. He kind of called us a rival at one point, and it's cool because he's an older guy that does this, and his name is Derek from Derek Reptiles. We started the same time he did, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been paying attention to him. You were actually on there, right?
Derek's Reptiles? No.
I saw somebody else who was on there.
He had Brian Barczyk on though.
I think he did ask me. He did ask me. I think around the same time you guys asked me, but I wasn't able to. At that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's actually been doing phenomenal. I mean, he had Brian. He had who's he? He had someone on, or he's having someone on soon. Oh, Kevin from Nerd.
Okay, cool.
We still need to get on, and it's cool. It's funny because he'll text me every now and then because he knows a lot of times me or Corey will do the bookings, and he'll message me being right quick. Oh darn, you guys got this person before I did. I'm like,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. But no, there aren't too many people who do this, or at least not in our age gap either.
Right. Yeah.
Age-wise, I don't know anyone else our age that does this.
I think that I was the first one, or at least one of the first that I would go on, because my first podcast, the first one I did was with Justin Kobelka, Ozzy Boyds, and Gavin from Balls to You. And before that, I don't think anybody's done that before. Like I was interviewing 3 people at the same time.
That's awesome.
So I did that, and then I did a reunion with them like a year or a year and a half later. I did a reunion with them again. That. Yeah, so I'm like, so I got really lucky actually. It kind of everything kind of just fell into place for that particular one. So I got really lucky too right off the bat, and then I did the interviewing multiple persons by one person, interviewing 3 people and stuff. So, and then now the Zoom calls. One person hosts it and there's like 20 people on there. I don't know how they do it. I've never sat through one, so I don't know how it works. Yeah. But I think
they're you mute, crazy.
Right. You mute some people and some people talk, and then these people don't talk, and then these people are supposed to talk, and I don't know how it works. I've never sat through one. So how does it work, Nico? How does it work?
To be honest, I barely know. I am not the tech guy of this group. If you ask any of these 2, I suck with technology.
Gotcha.
That's why I am personally the booking person, and I just call up people, be like, "Hey, you want to come on at this date, this date?" But from my understanding, how it works is, like, I know what you're talking about. A lot of guys actually do that for Patreon. Like I know Brian Cusco does that for Patreon. And then Billy did do one similar to that. Billy did one where he was doing an educational thing for these guys. This university was doing research to see if they can use shed to determine a recessive genetic. So say this thing had a het for something, but you couldn't tell because there's no markers. Well, if they take this shed, they can take the DNA string from that and tell you what all the genetic morphs are.
Right.
So in the future time, he's basically saying that he's working with them. He's sending them sheds for in the future time we can have a way of telling what our stuff is without having to be like, okay, the parent was this, okay, it should be this.
Gotcha.
That'd be awesome.
He did a thing where he had multiple people in there. I think there was about 7 people besides himself in Austin. And he would just make sure everyone was muted, and they would slowly just kind of go over everyone, be like, hey, and if they worked together, he'd tell, hey, you both talk at this point. It's to me, I don't think we'll ever go that way unless we do something special, but it definitely seems chaotic, and but also is really cool.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of keep things, kind of compartmentalized. Yeah. So, I did that for a while, and I haven't I did one recently with JTK. So I still do the one-on-ones. I did the one-on-ones, right? I still do those. But the latest one I did with multiple was with JTK, Brian from JTK, Sim Container, and Mike's Monitors. So I did all 3 of them, and we just kind of, So I'm still doing them. I'm not against them. I think it's awesome to do, multiple guests. And you get a lot of different perspectives, you know what I mean? So it really works out really well. It's a little chaotic, but
add something in there.
Yeah.
Your podcast isn't just reptile people, right?
No, as of recently, as about maybe a couple months ago, I've started including celebrities, like inviting celebrities over.
Yeah, you had like Tommy Cho and some other guys in there too.
Yeah, I saw Tommy, Mr. Chong on there.
Who?
Chong.
Mr. Chong.
yeah.
That dude, well, he's kind of getting to the senile stage, so I had to do a lot of editing on that video because he was just keep going on these. He kept kind of just swing. I had to keep bringing him back to the interview. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of editing on that video. I don't know if you noticed, but that dude is hilarious, dude. Even at his age, at his age, he's hilarious. Yeah, man, those I just started incorporating those, and because I kind of always had that vision that I knew I wanted to at some point go outside of the reptile industry. I didn't know to what capacity. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I know that I was going to go outside. And then I started noticing that some of these celebrities are watching my stuff. You know how when people they like your
after
stuff,
you get to know it,
or when they see your stories, you can see who's been watching your stories. Right. I'm getting a lot of attention from some people that are kind of outside of the industry and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna shoot an invitation out to Noel. That was Noel G, the gangster, the movie gangster, the movie gangster. So I shot him out, and he responded, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, all right. And then we worked it out, and then at the same time, I'm like, okay, let's see who else. Then I really, Kat Von D kept on coming up on my feed, and I really liked her. I've always been a fan of hers from a long time ago. And my wife reminded me, she said you were like you were always watch her show, like you would always watch her tattoo show. I'm like, I don't remember. I knew that there was a tattoo show because you used to watch it. You didn't miss not even one episode. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll secretly in love with this chick. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea, right? She is really pretty, but so I'm like, oh yeah, so she's a singer now, blah blah blah, and it's what, I'm just gonna send her an invitation, and she responded the next day right away.
That's awesome. Yeah. And
the first thing, it's so funny because the thing that with the way that she responded is almost the same way that almost all my guests have responded, reptile or non-reptile people. It's funny, they to me, I don't know about your guys' experience, but to me they've almost all of them respond the same way, and it's always like, oh really, why would you ever want to interview me? They don't understand why I would want to interview them. I'm like, you're a reptile guy, you do this and you do that. Yeah, I know, but everything's already on my social media. I go, no, but that's different. When someone sits down and has a conversation with you, it puts on a whole other element, and you speak from the heart. Anyway, so a lot of the people that I interviewed, some of them never interviewed before. They started interviewing, and now they're coming up in other people's shows, which is great. They're coming out, awesome, and they're getting out of their shell and whatnot. Even and then of course when I do the celebrity invitations, they do ask me, hey, so what is this about? Why would you? I say basically what I tell them is the same thing that I tell people that I normally invite, is because you've done something that I see is very inspiring. It's inspired me.
Yeah.
And if it's inspired me, other people can get inspired and be encouraged by what you've done and what you've been through in your life. That's
exactly.
that's what my show is about. It's about encouragement, support, and exploring people's lives and finding the inspiration and motivation in people's lives to motivate other people.
Definitely.
They're like, oh, okay, cool. All right, okay, cool. And so on. So some of them will be like, well, I don't even breed ball pythons. I'm not a breeder. I'm just a keeper. And I tell them, look, what you're doing is awesome. I would love to interview you just because of that. And I'd like to kind of get to know you more on social media. And then away we go. So that's have you guys ever gotten that? Like, why do you want to interview me?
Well, we had one person. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, her one person so far. We had her name's Cam Reptiles. She does mostly TikTok videos, and she's mostly just a keeper. But when I had asked her, she's like, well, why would you guys want me? I'm like, well, you keep reptiles. You do amazing things on TikTok for education. Why not?
She does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, and it's just like we'd love to just have you on. And we like, and she even said, she's like, well, it's out of my comfort zone, but I'll give it a try. Texted her after the live. She loved it. She's like, yeah, no, that was really nice. I was like, see, it is really about getting, I mean, heck, when we all first started, we were all nervous as heck. And that was the great thing about having Jeremy, why we're so thankful. Jeremy helped us get out of our comfort zone. And he also, whenever we got stuck on something, he'd pull it back in there. And
he'd bring something up, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to help it go along.
Yeah.
And one thing I do want to make clear, in case, because someone's always out there trying to get butthurt over one thing or another.
Oh yeah.
I invite only people that inspire me. It doesn't matter what your following is. And just because I haven't invited you yet doesn't mean you don't inspire me. It just means I haven't invited you yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's anybody out there listening, it's not that you don't inspire me. I just simply haven't invited you yet. Your time will come, and we can talk about it later. Yeah, or someone that even comes. Sure, go ahead.
Let me ask you this: Do you ever get thrown off if somebody asks you to be on? Has anybody ever done that to you?
Ask me to be on what?
On your podcast.
Yeah. And it did throw me off, because when you get to a certain point with following and stuff like that, and I'll be honest, you start questioning people's motives, and I'm just coming from the heart. And I heard of this phenomenon. I just never really gave it any type of real attention. I see now what they're talking about. You tend to question people's motives when people want to be your friend, or when people want to, you know what I mean? So, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. What was your question again? Tell me what your question was.
When people ask, like, you usually ask people to come on. Do you get thrown off when people ask you to be on? Like
Yes. Okay.
They're just not
threw me
invited?
off. It threw me off the first time. It threw me off when someone asked me for the first time. When someone asked me, I'm like, oh, I didn't know what to say, because I was like, well, I normally invite people, but okay, you know what I mean? So I got, it was just the first time, and that when that happened the first time, it did throw me off. But then I thought about it. I'm like, I should have known that the day was going to come that people asked me to come out on my show. I should have known.
Yeah.
So I should know how to react, and how to be like, how to tell someone, or how to tell someone no. I have, you know what? I don't know if this will be a good connection. I haven't told anybody no. I have been asked. I haven't told anybody no, because once I talk to that person, I'm like, well, what do you want out of the show? Like, what do you? And then they start talking, and then we kind of just start vibing, and I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. We'll make it happen. And then I try to schedule it and stuff like that. So far, everybody who's asked me, I've said yes. I've said yes so far.
But my brother's bringing the cat in.
So I haven't said no yet, but I'm sure at some point, the thing is that I also don't do complete newbies, because I've been, okay, here's an experience that I've had. I've had experiences with people like, hey, can you give me a shout out, please? Give me a shout out. And I'm like, okay, well, let me look at your social media. I do shout outs. I don't mind doing shout outs, even if I don't even know you. If you're a reptile person and I see you put in a lot of work and I see that you've got something going on, I'll do it. But then if I see your account, you say, hey Rudy, can you give me a shout out, please? I'm trying to build up my reptile community and this and that, and I just got into it. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go check out I'll check out his Instagram. There's one picture of a horse, and then a video of him doing what do you call an ollie with his bike, and I'm like, and then I see that he only started his account 6 weeks ago, and I'm like, nah, man, you got to put in some work. You got to put in some work. No, you can't just be asking people for that and then expect for you to grow your account. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say go follow this guy, but for what? So you can see a picture of a horse. You know what I mean? The horses are cool, but let's say if this guy had hundreds of pictures of his horse and hundreds of moves that he's doing with his bicycle, and he's really trying, even if he's not a reptile guy, and I see that he's really working at his social media, yes, I'll give you the shout out. Oh, of course, yeah. But when it's something like that, I'm like, you know what? Why don't you develop your stuff a little bit more? Let me see that you put in some work, and then I'll give you a shout out. Because I just don't think it's cool to even ask when you haven't even put in the work. You know what I mean? A lot of us, we put in the work.
100%.
And we put in the work, and then that's when people want to come and help you, and it's okay to be, hey, can you help me out? I've been putting in work. I've been trying to, my account won't go over 500 followers. I've already been doing this for more than a year or whatever. And I see that you put in the work. Go for it, dude. I'll and not only that, but I'll continue. Well, you see what I do with some of the other posts that I do, some other shout outs that I do. I just do the shout outs for the heck of it, just to help support the community. Yeah.
All right. Well, Rudy, I do have to go because it is my father's birthday, so we're gonna go eat dinner. But I just want to say, super appreciative of you coming on. This was great. This was awesome, man. And
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. I mean, these two can stay and talk to.
This has been one of our longer lives for a while.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can stay in for another 20 more minutes to make sure we at least get 2 hours in. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Whatever you guys want to do. Yeah. Rudy, just thank you for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, Lukas, say a happy birthday to your dad for me.
I will. Thank you, sir. You have a good one, man.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yeah,
for sure. You too. See you guys. Hey, end it strong, all right?
Yeah, we will.
For sure. All right. Peace.
Here, let's see if I can throw in some of these questions that haven't been answered yet. Like I realized without even
he's back already. Does he immediately kick him, or you think? No, he's good. Okay. Okay, cool. You're good. You're good.
Okay, so some of the questions have already been answered, even though they were never directly asked. But here, we went over that. What advice do you have for young people getting started in the industry?
Gosh, what's the most important thing I would say? Be kind, stay humble, work hard, and be kind. Work hard,
definitely.
Stay humble, be kind. Why? Because once you start getting those followers, first of all, it's hard work to get those followers. But once you start getting them, don't let it get to your head, man. Please, stay humble, continue to work hard, and be kind to other people, man. Just be supportive and be kind. I've experienced so much negativity in my life throughout my years that I can't help to overflow with positivity, because if I'm not positive, I won't have positivity in my life. I have to generate positivity within my own heart and mind. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the posts I put up there, right?
Yeah.
It's about, dropping the heavy weights of judgment, of people being mean and just being positive. And I try, instead of praying for blessings, I try to be a blessing to other people. You know what I mean? So work hard, stay humble, and be kind. That's my advice. Don't ever forget that, no matter what you do.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. What are the biggest obstacles you faced in the business and just this everything?
With my social media?
Yeah.
Oh, with social media, snakes. What do you mean? The biggest growth? You mean like maybe the growth?
Yeah, like growth obstacles and just trying to get your brand out there. What's an obstacle?
Okay. The biggest obstacle was growing my social media. I couldn't find one, because us as humans, what we try to do is we try to find one thing that works a lot and do it over and over again, right? That's what us humans, that's what we're programmed to do. Oh, this works. Oh, I did this, it got me 3 followers. But I did this and it got me 50 followers. So I'm going to keep doing this over here. 50 followers every time, right? So what I came to learn is that there's no consistencies. Absolutely zero consistencies. I still this day have not been able to narrow down exactly what's helping me grow. Okay, till this day I haven't, because I do so many different things all the time. I don't know what's the one thing that really helps. I assume it's that when I do a lot of reposting and I post a lot of my interviews with people that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and then I post my interviews with them, and then they repost it, and then that's what I see, little jumps. Boom, 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 the jumps here and there. When I do reptile shows, I see little jumps. So the hardest thing is to build up my following up to where I have it now. That's probably one of the biggest things I've done. The other biggest problem I've had in breeding, in the whole realm of breeding, is building up my collection to where I want it to be and finding my sweet spot. Because I had up to 50 animals, and I realized that 50 is not good for me or my animals. So I had to bring it down to about 30 animals. Now I have about 25, 30 between there. And that's my sweet spot. If we're talking about my collection, is finding my sweet spot with my having animals and having a family and having businesses and so on. You know, it's now I'm in a position where my animals get the best care possible and I get the best out of my collection possible.
Definitely. And now, after we went over the obstacles, what's been key in achieving your social media audience?
Okay, I honestly don't know, to be honest, because I don't talk to a lot of people. People like my stuff, they repost my stuff, but I couldn't tell you what is the key. If I was to guess, honestly, I would say I try to overwhelm my social media with positivity, to be honest. There's so much negative crap going on in the world. If someone opens up their phone and they see my little icon pop up that shows I just posted something, I want people to click that and make their day a little better, make them laugh. I mean, have you ever seen anything negative or me complaining about anybody or anything on any of my social media? You won't see it. It's not there. It's always looking at the silver lining, you know, and always trying to encourage someone's bad day, you know. So I think that just staying positive and not picking fights with people and not being arrogant and not just being stupid. You know, I think that might be it. That if I was to choose what the key is, it would be that.
100%.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about doing podcasts with so many different people, like not even just in the reptile community?
Oh, okay. This is where I'm going to sound really, really, really ungrateful and really shallow. Okay. The thing that I love the most about doing these podcasts or these chat sessions is I don't have to do any editing at all whatsoever once I'm done. Man, I used to spend 4 to 8 hours trying just to put out one freaking video, man. I've gone to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning because I want to get that video out in time for the next day. I used to work hard at editing and ideas and all this stuff. I used to work so hard at it. If I would have kept going, I probably would have gotten even better and I probably would have experienced some sort of success. I did very little, well, to my expectations, very little, but that would be the top thing that I like most about doing these shows. I don't have to do any type of editing, you know, none of that. I mean, very little, if at all. Yeah, but except for like that one where I told you with Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
That one I did have to, but it's very light editing. It's not you're just taking little chunks off, and then that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not timing it. You're not putting this, not putting music, and then you do this, and then you do crossovers and fade in, fade out. So none of that stuff. Yeah. But with that, I do have to give you my second one. My second one is definitely meeting new people and knowing that after every single interview, I know that I've elevated the reptile community at least a little bit that day.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. So I didn't write too many down. I usually make a list of 10, and about 6 of them were answered. Just like
okay.
Yeah.
Well, ask me again. Let me ask. Maybe I have a more in-depth answer for you guys.
Let's see. Has there been a point in your career where you felt like giving up? If so, what events led to that?
Oh gosh, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what are the events that led up to that. Oh shoot, I don't even remember, to be honest. Okay, so I was doing a lot. Okay. Oh, I remember the moment I went on that track was I had did this video, and YouTube still does this to me. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I did this video, and I got something like must have been like 10,000 plus views or something crazy like that, especially at that time. And I was really happy because I had just finished reinventing myself. I had just finished inspiring myself, and kind of I dug deep down inside me and I pulled it out, and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go all out, and I'm gonna do everything that all these big accounts are doing, because that's at least a good starting point, right? So I did it. I got something like 15,000 views or something like that. And then I went back the next day, and it had went down to 8,000 views. I'm like, what? Like, YouTube actually took off views. That's weird, right? I mean, has anybody else experienced that? No, right? Okay. So after you pass a certain amount of time, certain amount of views, I don't know what the cap is, but the cap was at that time. And I reached out to YouTube, and that back then YouTube was responding. YouTube didn't used to, now it doesn't respond anymore at all. So I reached out to YouTube back then, and I told them, hey, what's going on? This is what's going on. This was happening. And not only that, but, I got this many views, and basically what she said, or it was a girl, I think. I don't know why I think it was a girl, but it was in an email. She said, YouTube calculates the average amount of views that YouTube allows you to get, straight out. You were actually only supposed to get about 5,000 views. Back then, I was only making like 200 or 300 views, 150 views. I was barely climbing. And then, and I'm like, wait a minute. So are you saying that those people saw my video, but you're taking off the view? They said, yeah, that's what our algorithm does. It gives you only the views that YouTube thinks you should have for the video. And I'm like, are you freaking really kidding me right now? I go, this is ridiculous. I earned those views. I even said, look at my last 3 videos. I did some amazing editing on those compared to all my other videos. I earned those views. And she went back. She responded to me, say, yeah, I understand, but there's nothing that we can do. We don't control the algorithm. The algorithm does what it's going to do. And I'm like, I was so discouraged. And she just, no matter what I would say, she would just get back to me with something lame and something that didn't make sense. And I think that she was only telling me what she was being told. I don't even think that she knew what she was saying. So I was real discouraged. And then you know what happens like a day after that? That was around the time that what's his name? What are the Paul brothers? One of them is Logan Paul. Logan Paul had just gotten in trouble for posting that dead body.
Yeah.
He had just gotten in trouble. He had just been, he got canceled. Everybody was canceling him for doing that. Boom, 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 canceling him. And I mean, to me, Logan and Jake, they're big obnoxious. And then I'm kind of like, I'm not sad to see him go because I really don't like their content. I mean, they're really horrible people, almost like, very arrogant. Anyways, but anybody, it's not illegal to be arrogant. That's not what I'm saying. But their content, they would torture animals. They would do a lot of freaking stuff like that. It was unacceptable. So he had just done the apology, and he went dark. Nobody knew what he was doing or what he was doing. He just fell off of social media. YouTube had just finished messing me up with that video, and I was so discouraged, right?
Yep.
A day or two after that, I get an email. I don't even follow Jake Paul. I don't even follow him. I got a direct email from YouTube with Jake Paul with his head up in the air like that and saying, Logan Paul is back. Go watch his video. I'm like, wait a minute. You don't even tell. Back then I had maybe like 8,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I had just found out through that same communication that when you put out a video, YouTube only serves it up to about 100. If you have 8,000 followers, they will only show your video to about 100 people of your own followers. And depending on how much they follow you or interact with then maybe they'll show it to a few more of your own followers. I'm like, why don't you show all my followers? They all should know. They said that's not the way it works. This is the way she broke it down for me as well. Anyways, so I'm like, all this is going on me, but because I don't bring them hundreds and millions of views, you're going to give this guy that privilege to email me, someone doesn't even follow him. You're going to send a notification to me. And that really messed me up. It's almost like the rich are getting richer. The government favors the rich people, and the rich are getting richer and the poor stay poor. It was in that time where YouTube was doing that, whatever they were doing. And then there was something else that happened. I think it was on another video. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to do this anymore. Got real discouraged. I made a video. I'm out of here. I'm sorry. I'm done. And this and that. And that's where the events that led up to me doing that, because I had put so much work into it. And I'm like, well, it's not even worth doing if I'll put all this work into it and they're going to throttle me back. And what's funny is that whole concept hasn't changed. It's still the same. If at all, actually, it's gotten worse.
It's gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, it's gotten worse. I literally have to go outside of my social media. I have to go outside of YouTube to promote YouTube. I have to go to Instagram to promote YouTube. I have to go to, I have to have like what's called a funnel. They call it a funnel now. I have to like get this I have to use YouTube to promote Instagram to promote YouTube, TikTok to promote this, and all these different platforms and stuff like that. So that's kind of what led up to me wanting to quit and be discouraged. So yes, discouragement is real. You guys stick with it. Look, I stuck with it. If you guys stick with it, you guys can also do some awesome stuff, even though maybe you'll never be as big as Brian Barczyk or some of these big influencers, but whatever you're able to do is more than enough. And even if you just help one person, it should be more than enough in your heart. That's when you know you have purity in your heart. When you know that if you at least help that one person and that's good enough, then you're on the right track. You have the right mindset.
Yeah. So here's a kind of more of a fun hot seat topic, but out of anyone in the world so far, even if they are dead now, who would you like to interview?
Oh my gosh, like ultimately?
Yeah, ultimately anyone even dead now.
It's a good question. That's a good question. If I was to be like right now, who's the ultimate guest? I would shoot off my favorite hip hop artists. There's nobody bigger in my mind than them, and that would be either Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Eazy-E if he was still alive. If he was still alive, definitely Eazy-E. They're mainstream now, but back when they were underground, I was a big fan. I'm still a big fan, obviously, but that's a rap artist. As far as actors, sky's the limit. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, shoot, you can't get much higher. The Rock, you can't get much higher than that. You know what I mean? So maybe one day, bro. Maybe one day. It's been known to happen, right? Yeah. Obviously, I'm sure it's obvious I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan podcast, but I'm also a big fan of Philip DeFranco.
Mm-hmm.
Also a big fan of First We Feast, Hot Ones, where they eat the hot wings. They eat the hot wings. You'll see some of their influence. You'll see it on my social media, like my thumbnails. That's where I got it from my thumbnails. The way I have my thumbnail set up on my YouTube, I got that from Philip DeFranco. He puts himself in the front, and then right here he puts a picture, and behind him he put pictures of his guests, or his guests or the people he talked about, and then Casey Neistat too. I don't know if you guys know him. For example, which one? Joe Rogan. Well, Joe Rogan is his influence is kind of in the whole kind of casual conversation thing, and from Hot Ones or the Hot Ones podcast or whatever, they do more interviews. So I'm more of an interview kind of guy, but that also does like kind of just casual talk as well. So I kind of incorporate both. So that's kind of how you see the influence of those. You could say I copied them, to a certain extent, but it's more like inspiration. It's more like influence, and you'll see it there. And then the whole backdrop thing, I saw that. Who was it that I saw? Like when I see movie stars, when they go and they take pictures in front of the backdrops they have.
Yeah.
So that's where I got that idea from and stuff. So
yeah. No. What was it? The Hot Ones one. We almost took an idea from there with the whole them eating the spice food or whatever. We thought about doing that one time for an open mic night. We were like, okay, what can we do to entertain people? And we're like, we could just all be idiots and eat something spicy.
You know what would be a good idea, it'd be cool to see you guys roll with it. I did it only once. Have you guys seen my interview that I did with Brian Cusco? It was Brian Cusco, Dan from DM Exotics, and Dave Kaufman. I had them three on my show. And what I did with them, no, it wasn't that one. It was the one we did with Brian Cusco, Garrett Hartle, and what's his name was in it too, Forrest Fanning and Ryan McVeigh. Those were in it. And I did kind of like a real quick trivia questions, reptile trivia questions.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever blurted out the answer first. What's that?
Like hot seat questions.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what hot seat questions are, but I'd be like, okay, how do you spell cloaca? Or I'd be like, if you had a snake, what did I say? If you have a snake, a ball python that has pastel, pinstripe, spider, what morph do you have? Lemon blast or whatever, you know what I mean? So okay, so what genes make up the Disco Inferno?
Oh, that's okay. I see.
Stuff like that, or I'll be like, so I'll ask like questions like that, and then whoever pops off the first, boom. So that made it really fun, dude. That made it really, and I so want to go back to that, and I will. But it'd also be cool to see other people kind of take the baton on that too.
That'd be cool.
To put together like 50 questions, and then have 3 guys or 2 guys or whatever, and then they go at it. In these, and usually I chose them because I knew they were friends, so I knew they were gonna jive on each other, make fun of each other, try to talk over each other and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. Maybe I'll send you the link on it after we're done. I'll send you the link so maybe you can check it out. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing that. And then what else would I do? I'd do like trick questions. I forgot. I did it with Ozzy and Justin and what's his name? Gavin. I did it with them. What I would ask him, not reptile related, but I would ask him, oh shoot, what was the questions? I would be like, what does TWI spell? Twi, right? What does TWA spell? Say it. What does TWA spell?
TWA?
If you would pronounce it, what does it spell?
Twa.
Twa. Okay, what does TWO spell?
TWO. Two. Yeah, 2.
Two. You see, it's 2. You know what I mean? So I do trick questions. What are you doing? How do you spell this? STOP. What are you doing? A green light? Stop. No, you do green. So I would do little questions like that too, and it kind of, when I did it with it wasn't as fun because they're kind of like the kind of awkward guys. You know, they're not really outgoing like Brian Cusco. So, but it was kind of fun though. I would ask them little trick questions and stuff like that. So, that made it fun. It brings out the humanity in the person. It takes off the whole formal interview thing, and I'm gonna be positive and I'm gonna be there, you know, shun negativity. No, I wanted the person to come out, so I would do stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd love to see you guys run with something like that too. Yeah. And I know I want to go back to it.
As you say that, the first people I thought of was the group of nerd. Having Kevin, Rob, and Donnie and them, and what's his name? Why am I forgetting Jeremy's name? Those guys, having all up for those guys and see what they would do, because that'd be a funny group to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, man. You have any more questions there for me? Ask me one of those other questions.
Actually, that I think that's going to conclude it.
Oh, that's it. We're on 2 hours. Yeah, we did it.
Well, thank you again, Rudy, for coming on. It's been a blast. For those of you who are still here or going to be seeing this in the future, please go check out Rudy at Rudy.Reptiles. He does podcasting all the time with amazing people. And also on that, stay tuned for every Friday. We always do our lives on Fridays, or may do a special live on Sunday. We don't know. But please stay tuned to all 3 of our pages, me, Lukas, and Corey's, because we'll be putting up some special content soon that I think a lot of you will be interested in. So anyways, thank you again, Rudy, for coming on. It was a blast to have you on.
Yes, it was the pleasure was all mine. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Nico. You guys were a blast. We got to do it again.
Of course.
Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.